Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So it's Sunday. Hope you guys are staying up on your mind, body, and soul. You're studying that you should be doing every day, working out every day, praying every day, eating right every day, keeping yourself disciplined and on track towards your goals every single day, meeting that struggle every day, fighting off laziness every day, fighting off fear every day. Right? Strengthening ourselves. This is what we should be doing. A warrior doesn't sit around. A warrior trains. So I want to get into some points that I wrote down in my morning studies. I always make notes. When I hear a good quote, I write it down. Think about it. So here's some stuff that I wrote down for this morning. First quote I should say, is a question. How much does your forgiveness cost? That's heavy duty. You gotta think about that. How much does your forgiveness cost? How much does it cost you to forgive? How much are you charging to forgive? Right? I mean, for some people, their forgiveness isn't for sale. You couldn't give them $1 million. You couldn't give them 100 million. They're not going to forgive you. Learning how to forgive is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself and for others. First of all, how do you expect to be forgiven by anyone, particularly by a higher power? How do you expect to be forgiven by your friends, your loved ones, your dog? How do you expect to be forgiven by anyone if you can't forgive? Nobody's perfect. You fuck up just like everybody else does. Nobody's perfect. A lot of people, myself included, have gone through life trying to play the victim. And when you play the victim, everybody else is the aggressor. We're innocent. We're just minding our own business, doing the best we can, and everybody else fucks with me. Some people think themselves as saints. They've never done anything wrong. They've never gone astray. They've never made a mistake. But the answer to why their life sucks, why their mentality sucks, why everything about them sucks, it's always someone else's fault. If they're unhealthy, they'll blame their genetics. They'll blame everything other than themselves. These types of people may go through life bitter, angry, using each obstacle as further proof of why humanity sucks, why no one can be trusted. They're going to make every single person pay for what happened to them in the past. You ever met somebody who does this? You go out with somebody who is trying to make you pay for what happened in their last relationship. You have to constantly remind her, I'm not that last dude. I'm not the guy who abused you. I'm not the guy who did that shit to you. That was someone else. These are the types of people that should be able to get over stuff. Because this is what this really boils down to, is how much does it take for you to recover? What does it take for you to recover? Can you recover? If somebody betrays you, can you recover from that? Or do you hold on to that pain, that trauma forever and ever and ever? There's people out there that are walking around with pain and open wounds from everything that's ever happened to them, from every trauma, every obstacle, every betrayal, every lie, everything that's ever happened to them, every rock that's ever been thrown, they still have an open wound from it. They're still triggered from it. What does it take for you to recover? If I betrayed you and gave you $3 million, could you forgive me? And then could you actually get over it? Could you actually move on? Or would you always be like, yeah, that punk motherfucker. Fuck that motherfucker. Are you the type that if somebody wrongs you, does something wrong to you, you'll never forgive them ever? You damn them to hell like you're God? You are now cast out. Are you casting people out of heaven, left and right? Let's go to the next one. Feel free to add any comments in if you feel like I got some of this stuff wrong, or if I'm right on target, or if you had something to add. Let's go to this next one. The next one is, if you don't know what to ask, you can never change your situation. If you don't know what to ask, you can never change your situation. I mean, think about it this way. If you want to move, say if you weren't happy with where you lived and you wanted to move, you have to do the right kind of research. You have to ask the right kind of questions. How much does it cost to live somewhere else? Can I find a job somewhere else? Can I meet friends somewhere else? Am I going to enjoy the nightlife living somewhere else? Can I cut those cords of attachment that I have to the area that I grew up in and move someplace I've never lived before and don't know anybody? And what does it take to do that? Grab from the water. I don't know why I put my water. Every time I make a video, I put my water as far away from me as possible. I gotta put it near me. So if you don't know what to ask, it's true, you can't change your situation. Think about when you're gonna fix your car. And this applies to anything. And how we do anything is how we do everything. But think about when you're gonna fix your car. You want to get a proper diagnosis, so you have to start asking yourself questions. Is it fuel related? Is it electric? How does the engine work anyways? It sounded funny. These are important questions to ask, because when you go to the mechanic, the first thing he's going to ask you is, what's it doing? And you want to be able to give him some kind of clue. You can't just drop your car off with a key and say, it's broken, it doesn't work, I don't know what's wrong with it, fix it. Have it ready by Monday. He's going to want to have a conversation with you. What was it doing? When was the last time it ran? When the last time it ran, what did it do? The various things. Does it have power? When you turn the key on, do the lights come on? He's going to ask you some questions. And a good mechanic, when he's diagnosing a vehicle, asks the right questions and keeps an open mind without any kind of predetermined answer. The mechanic doesn't want your car to be a certain amount broken. A good mechanic just figures, okay, it's broken, whatever it is, we're going to fix it. But you got to be open-minded to what the problems are, be able to recognize that shit. Are you even asking enough questions is really the key. Sometimes if we don't know the right questions to ask because we're not Sherlock Holmes, maybe we're not sophisticated enough like Columbo. You ever watch Columbo? He was such a great detective and he had the best questions. He'd really catch people off guard. But those types of people are pretty slick and they can think pretty fast in the moment, and sometimes we don't have the answers in the moment. So what do? You just start asking lots of questions. Like a kid, you play that game of why. Why, Daddy? Well, why? Why, Mommy? Why? And after every answer, they ask, well, why? That can be annoying because you run out of answers. But this is a very scientific way, a very intelligent way to get to the bottom of a problem, especially if you don't really know what direction to go in. So let's go to the next one. This will be the last one. You can't move from a place if you think you belong to the place. Let's read that one again. You can't move from a place if you think you belong to the place. So, just keeping with the idea of moving from one town to the next. You can take this in a lot of different ways. But, I had a hard time leaving the West Coast because it's where I felt like I belonged. But I wasn't able to be successful out there. In fact, I was going backwards in life is what it felt like. Maybe I could have overcome those things. Maybe some of those things were internal, but sometimes we need a new outlook, a new environment. Sometimes we're not in the right environment. We are literally a fish out of water. You feel like one sometimes, and you might be. And in order to move from California, I really had to get rid of that idea that I belonged there, that I was part of that landscape. It's just a place to live. I can live anywhere. When you think about it that way, you realize, wow, well, I can move anywhere. I can move to any state. I could live in any city. Why do I have to be here in LA? But you can also think of it as just different places in our lives. I mean, you can't move on from a mentality of poverty if you think you belong in poverty. There's so many people in the ghetto that, because I was one of them, I just felt more comfortable. It's a comfort zone. Poverty can be a comfort zone. Weakness can be a comfort zone. Going nowhere in life can be a comfort zone. Doing the bare minimum can be a comfort zone. And it was hard for me to ever get out of the ghetto. What got me out of the ghetto wasn't winning the lottery. What got me out of the ghetto wasn't my bank account. It was my mindset. I realized that I'm not part of this. I wasn't made by these streets. I just live here. I could live anywhere. Imagine what my existence would be like if I lived a few blocks away on the other side of town. Well, why don't you? Why don't you do that? Why do you have to live here? And if you can't afford the other side of town in your area, you can move to a different place. There's all kinds of ways to get yourself out of poverty. You can work harder. You can change your outlook on money. Change how you spend money. Change how you save money. There's all kinds of ways to get on top of the game. But if you're stuck in a mindset of poverty, you're always going to be poor. It's like if you don't really find who the real you is, deep down inside, you'll always be lost in your environment. So if you over-identify with your environment, I'm poor, I live in the ghetto, I'm an alcoholic and alcoholics drink. People have all kinds of personas that they over-identify with. You find the real you and let go of all that other bullshit. Maybe bullshit that you're putting on yourself, maybe bullshit that other people are putting on you or society is putting on you. Be who you really are. You don't have to play a victim. You can overcome anything. If nobody's done it before you, you can be the first. So if you don't go within and find yourself within, you'll be lost in what's around you. Lost in the frustration and the pain and the fear that's around you, the outrage and the confusion that may exist around you. The battles in life are going to come. The storm, the chaos of life is going to come, and we can't get lost in it. I don't know. These are all just thoughts for Sunday. Thanks for watching.